Harry Morgan, my foster father, the man that adopted me, Miami Metro's finest. Harry found my brother Brian and I covered head to toe in our mother's blood after she was butchered in front of us. He was the first man who ever suspected what I really was. Not a murderer. Not yet, but something darker. Harry saw it in my eyes when I dismembered neighborhood animals like they were puzzles I couldn't stop solving. He didn't scold, didn't call a therapist. He kept notes, monitored my behavior, studied me like a ticking bomb. Harry decided to shape the monster he saw forming in his own house. Gave me a code, a structure, a reason to kill that could live inside the lines of his morality. That wasn't love. That was damage control.
Stay away. Please. Stay away.
He didn't just suspect I might become a killer. He made me one. Captain Tom Matthews, Harry's best friend, my godfather. A man who rose through the ranks with charm, favors, and just enough plausible deniability. Matthews always acted like he didn't see the cracks in the system, especially the ones he helped create. He knew Harry did something unusual with me. He never asked what exactly, never wanted the details. But he kept his distance, like a man who didn't want to know what was hiding behind the curtain.
I think the Bay Harbor Butcher is alive and well and still in Miami.
Clearly, I'm not the only one who's been hitting the sauce.
LaGuerta reopened the Bay Harbor Butcher case. Matthews helped her investigate until he realized her prime suspect was me. Then suddenly he wasn't interested in justice anymore. Self-preservation kicked in. He'd built his whole career on knowing when to look the other way. And this time it was personal. He told her to drop it. He backed off. Matthews never said the words, but I could see it in his eyes. He knew. He just didn't want to be responsible for knowing. Captain Aaron Spencer, my first superior at Miami Metro back in the 90s. Spencer oversaw homicide while I worked as a forensic intern.
Even you, Captain.
Yes, ma'am. All right, what do you got?
And pilfered everything in sight.
He was a decorated leader with a spotless record on the surface. Underneath, he was a manipulative predator. He staged his own son's kidnapping, killed to cover it up, all to get back at his ex-wife. Spencer wasn't just corrupt. He was calculating. He wore his authority like armor, knowing the department would protect him. But when I uncovered what he'd done, what he was still doing, he knew the protection was gone. He didn't panic. He smirked, like he thought he could talk his way out of it. Or maybe, deep down, he wanted someone to stop him. Either way, the moment he took an innocent life, he made the list. The first cop I ever put down. Not because he saw the monster in me, but because he was one himself. Sergeant James Dokes. The only one who got it right. Dokes didn't need blood slides or surveillance footage. He just watched me. The way I moved, the way I avoided people, the way I smiled without meaning it. Most people saw a forensic geek. Dokes saw something coiled beneath the surface.
Your instincts were dead on. They're always dead on when it comes to killers. Why is that?
While everyone else was fooled by my lab coat, mild manners and donuts, Dokes kept digging. He followed me, broke into my lab, then into my home, watching me like I was evidence waiting to confess. Found my blood slide collection. That wasn't suspicion anymore. That was confirmation. He even tracked me to one of my kill sites. And for that he died. I didn't kill him, but I didn't save him either. He had a dark passenger of his own too. He just had the paperwork to back up his kills. He was just a good cop. One of the last. Camilla Fig. She wasn't a detective. She wasn't a cop, but she worked behind every case file that crossed Miami Metro's desks, and she'd known me since I was a boy. Camilla saw everything, from my childhood trauma to my forensic career.
What I remember, Dexter Morgan, is your father caring enough to bring you into his home and give you a loving family.
She joked once about my blood slides, like it was nothing. But in her final days, she looked at me differently. She'd put together a puzzle that almost no one else even noticed. She knew I'd killed my brother. Maybe not about all the others, but enough to understand what I was. And she didn't flinch, didn't ask questions, just sat there, eyes heavy, like she'd been waiting years for the pieces to fit. She didn't run. She asked me to help her die. That wasn't forgiveness. It was acceptance, a silent verdict from someone who knew the system. She'd filed away more cases than anyone in that department, and she knew exactly how many monsters slipped through. Agent Frank Lundy. Lundy never said a word to me about suspicion. He was too careful for that. but I watched him track the Bay Harbor butcher with a precision that made me uncomfortable. He didn't buy the official story about Dokes, not completely. He'd seen too many clean arrests fall apart under dirty circumstances. The timing, the evidence, it all wrapped up too neatly for someone like Lundy to swallow whole. He never celebrated when the case closed. He just packed his files, gave me one last look and walked away. That look said more than any report could. Not accusation, not certainty, just the kind of unfinished thought that keeps a mind like his restless.
I mean, if Trinity had struck in Buffalo instead of Miami, I wouldn't have access to a blood guy of your caliber.
Well, thanks for that. Later, when he came back chasing Trinity, I kept expecting him to bring up the past. He never did, but he never looked at me the same either. He didn't have proof, but he had questions. Questions are dangerous in the hands of someone who actually knows where to look, and a man like Lundy doesn't stop asking them, not even after death. Miguel Prado. He started with suspicion. I could see it in his eyes. First when I ran a background check on his brother, then again when Freebo disappeared. He knew I had something to do with it, but instead of coming after me, he tried to get closer. He watched me, tested me, little things, questions wrapped in compliments, legal hypotheticals with just enough weight to feel personal. He was feeling for boundaries I hadn't drawn yet, and when he figured out what I was, he didn't flinch. He wanted in.
I'm gonna tell you something. I wasn't sure that I could do this, but you did.
Miguel saw the darkness, and thought it was power, justice even. He thought we could be partners, brothers in arms. But what he really wanted was control, to turn what I did into something public, political, usable. Miguel didn't have a code, didn't want to learn it. That's when I knew he was never going to stop. Men like Miguel don't walk away, they press, they push, until someone pushes back harder. Stan Liddy. Liddy didn't suspect me. He caught me. Former cop, hired muscle and too dumb to know when he was ahead. He followed Quinn's hunch and did what Quinn never could, gathered real evidence. Audio, video, me, bagging up a target like it was routine. He had me dead to rights, and he knew it. Smug, confident, like he'd finally found the golden ticket. He thought the footage was a weapon, but it was his countdown. Instead of turning it in, he tried to make it personal.
Why should I trust you?
Because I don't give a shit about her. And I don't give a shit about you either. I just want my goddamn job in the police force back.
Thought he could use it to get his badge back. Leverage. That was the plan. Blackmail a killer with nothing to lose. That was his mistake. I don't kill cops unless I have to. But Liddy gave me no choice. He didn't just see the monster, he tried to chain it. And when you try to chain something that lives in shadows, you better make sure it doesn't bite first. Detective Joey Quinn. Quinn started to circle me after Rita died. He said it was just instinct, that something about me didn't sit right. He was right. He dug into my connection with Trinity, started asking around about Kyle Butler, got close enough to make me nervous. He asked the right questions, followed the right leads. If he'd trusted his instincts instead of outsourcing the dirty work, things might have ended differently, for both of us. But like most cops, he stopped short. Instead of going all in, he handed it off to Liddy, and when that went sideways...
Any theories? I haven't examined the crime scene. Wild guess? Heard Liddy was kind of shady. Maybe something came back to bite him.
Quinn backed off. Maybe he didn't want to believe it. Maybe he just couldn't prove it. Either way, he got too close, then looked the other way. Or maybe with Deborah in the middle of it all, he decided some truths weren't worth destroying her over. Captain Maria LaGuerta. Maria never believed Dokes was the Bay Harbor butcher, not for a second. And once she started pulling the thread, it led straight to me. She found my blood slide at the church, matched it to Travis Marshall, reopened the case, rebuilt the profile, quietly, methodically. She put the pieces together. She didn't come at me like a detective. She came like a prosecutor, with timelines, forensics, motive, piece by piece. She built a case no one wanted to see. She even set a trap, released Hector Estrada, the man who ordered my mother's killing, to see if I'd take the bait. I did. Something Hector yelled made me realize it was a trap just in the nick of time.
What if Dokes was onto him? Jesus, what if Dexter
is the real Bay Harbor Butcher.
What if he isn't?
The more truth Maria uncovered, the fewer people believed her. Everyone thought she was chasing ghosts. She wasn't. She was chasing me. A truth so uncomfortable, it made people turn away. Even the ones closest to her. She was alone by the end. And still, she kept going. And she almost had me. Almost. Chief Angela Bishop. She didn't know who I was at first. Just thought I was some quiet guy named Jim living in the woods. But Angela was sharper than she looked. She followed the inconsistencies, the lies, the way trouble seemed to follow me like a shadow. She didn't jump to conclusions. She let them stack, until the man she was dating looked more like a crime scene than a person. When she found out my real name, she started digging into the Bay Harbor Butcher case, matched my methods, pulled old cases. She even brought Batista into it.
My old captain actually thought it was someone else in the precinct.
Who?
Dexter Morgan, but he died years ago.
When Angela finally confronted me, it was already too late. Gun pulled, handcuffs out, and Logan there as backup. She knew, not all the details, but enough. And once a cop knows, they don't forget. Captain Angel Batista. He worked beside me for years, shared coffee, crime scenes, and conversations about life I didn't understand. He never suspected me, not when Dokes died nor when LaGuerta did. He trusted me, or maybe he just wanted to. I was the only witness to his marriage to Maria after all. But when Angela reached out to him years later, something clicked.
Do you remember the Bay Harbor Butcher?
Cristo.
He looked at the old cases, the old photos, the pattern, the kind of pattern only someone close to the scene could have missed, and only someone close to me could finally see. For the first time, he started to see what was hiding in plain sight all along. He didn't say it out loud. He didn't have to. Sometimes all it takes is one long look, and no more denial. Now he's back on the case, following the trail, following Harrison, and this time he's not stopping until he finds me. Some people saw the monster in me and tried to stop it. Others looked the other way, but he didn't do either. He looked straight through it, and still stayed. If you want to understand the one person who reminded me what it felt like to be human, even when I didn't deserve it, then it's time you saw the video. Every time Harrison reminded me I was human, explained by Dexter.